Radio. Homegrown Radio. Real 92.3.
All right, we back at it. Homegrown Radio. Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head.
West Coast.
Look, man, we've been talking about these dudes for the last few podcasts as early as maybe last year, man. Some young gunners in here, man. I feel like this really taking over, doing shit for LA media, doing shit for music, for LA hip hop, and it's just a pleasure to kind of see what I've said and you've said before on the podcast before, the seeds of what Homegrown planted years back.
Yeah.
Taking this and really pushing forward and building their own thing. And it's so funny. It's Rosecrans, you know what I'm saying? And Rosebuds and all that shit. Rosecrans Avenue. We got Rosecrans Vic and we got CYPRESS MORENO in the house, man.
What's up?
What's the word, man?
Thanks for having us.
Oh, man. Appreciate y'all being here. Y'all came straight from Rosarito, though. Yeah. God
much,
damn.
yeah.
I see y'all was kicking it with Rucci's Pops.
Yeah.
What the
Pretty
fuck
legendary.
is that?
When I saw that, I thought y'all was making fun of Rucci.
No,
That was really his Pops?
No, that was pretty legendary.
That was his dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that something planned or set up, or you just
Nah,
ran into him out
you
there?
ran into him.
Yeah, the way it happened, someone reached out to someone, and he kind of got like, he was like
a plus
tag
one.
along.
Yeah, he was like a
tag
plus
along.
one.
He didn't really know what he was getting into, I think, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's
So
just
it
like,
was
hey,
he
fuck,
didn't
I'll
know,
be out
like-
there. And y'all saw him
Yeah.
and linked up.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty much what it was.
he didn't know who you guys were, that you guys were supportive of his son? Or
He was familiar. He wasn't like, I mean, he's not like tapped in,
course,
you know what I mean?
right.
But like when I started talking to him, so he's like, oh, so what do you do? Like, and then I was just like, oh, well, I booked Rucci for like his
Right.
first few shows,
Yeah.
and like I
I've
probably
only
did,
helped break your son, but I mean,
I probably did his first interview
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and then probably wrote about him on the internet first,
Oh.
and then he was like, man, I appreciate that so much. Like, you don't know what it means to me. Like, you know, he's a real one, blah blah. You know, like
That's
it
dope,
was,
man.
yeah, it was super dope. I had a real cool conversation with him.
I was talking to one of the homies about you, and like yeah, he was like, man, I started fucking with Rosecrans because of you, because you always talk about him and shout him out,
appreciate that.
and but he's like, what does he do?
Yeah.
And I was like,
you know, it's funny, we
I
don't
was
be talking to him.
you know
He's
what's
like-
crazy? You know what? I was like, everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know who the fuck Rosecrans is, what do you do? What do you call yourself? What's your title?
I would like to say, like, at heart, I'm a journalist,
Bet.
like above everything. And everything else, whether that be like radio host, whether that be writer, that all kind of just stems from that. You know what I mean? Do a little bit of like publicity work, like A&R stuff. Shit, I mean,
Everything.
pretty much.
Did you step into the business with that mindset, or was it one avenue that you said, okay, I want to do radio, but then I noticed, okay, I can book shows and you know all
That's
that.
pretty much what it was.
Okay.
Like doing a lot of things that weren't being done that I felt like somebody had to do it.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? And it's like, why not me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's basically what it was. It was never no like, I want to do everything. It was just
Right.
like, I need to do this. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've done this. Now let me learn something else. Let me add another tool to my belt. You know what I mean? And just keep moving forward.
Out of necessity. That's kind of that's what Homegrown was like when we
Yeah.
started. Like, were you familiar with Homegrown at all before everything?
Not before I started the website, but once I started it, then I like found out about you guys, and then I was just like, oh, dope. Like, I see what they're doing. You guys were not at Real yet.
Yeah.
And so I was just watching, and I was listening to the interviews. We were a few times, like, we interviewed like the same artist around the same time. And then I was just like, yo, that's dope, like what they're doing. But it was never planned to like really do maybe like take like a similar route. Like it really started as a blog.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, you know what I should get the radio show back popping, because I started at Rosecrans Radio LBCC back in the day, like 2014, before the blog was a thing. So I'm just like, okay, well, we've done this. Now how can I expand? And then so I went to Dash and like pitched them the show, and then they're like, okay, cool. Yeah. So
yeah. So then, how'd you end up hooking up with CYPRESS? Because I remember CYPRESS don't even know this story. I never told him this on purpose, but he has a cousin that was bugging the fuck out of me about him.
He's like, what cousin I got?
It was either a cousin.
Hey, but look,
It was hold on.
I got a grip of cousins.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think she was El Salvadorian. You El Salvadorian?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was El Salvadorian, and she was like, my cousin, you need to fuck with my cousin. And this was like years ago. And she was like, I'm like, what's your cousin's name? She's like, CYPRESS. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, what does he do? She like, he does everything. He's a DJ. He's the hottest motherfucker. She was going hard. Shout out to Treacherous. We was at Treacherous Studios.
Okay.
And
He's trying to jog his memory, like, what?
no, you wouldn't.
I'm thinking which cousin.
Right. And I never told you the story, but she was bugging the fuck out of me. Like, you need to fuck with him. He's the next guy. He's next up. I'm like, okay, bet. I'm not even popping.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you want me to do, like, for him. You know what I'm saying? But I was familiar with him since then. This is like years ago. And this, I mean, you were relatively young too. Like, I think you were still like 19, 20 or some shit like that. And it was like, for me, that was my first introduction. Like, okay, let me see who this motherfucker is. You know what I'm saying? But then how did y'all end up like hooking up?
It was, I think I don't know, like we probably just followed each other. It was like,
yeah, we were just pretty much crossing each other's paths in person and on the internet. Like really off of, I saw his blog at the time. I launched my website too, and we were covering some of the same content, some of the same acts. And we just pretty much, we just linked up off of that.
Yeah, it was more of a like, we seen we're doing like very similar things. I'm just like, oh, like he's Latino, I'm Latino. And then it was like, never like we want to work together. We just seen that we were doing the same thing. And he had like his little like section of artists that he was like fucking with. And I did too. And we would send music back and forth. Like, oh, you like post this. Like, okay, yeah, post this. And it was all dope. You know what I mean? Like, and it was all like Rucci was one of like the artists that he was fucking with heavy. And then I would send him like people like from my area, like Big Swift and stuff like that. And he's like, okay, that's cool. Like, so we just kind of kept that like ping pong back and forth, like through emails. And then, what I think the first time we worked together was that mix. We did like a mix.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, we did like a little summertime mix.
Yeah.
Rosecrans Radio, like unofficial but official.
Yeah.
This, how many years are we talking about? How many years ago was this?
This was like 5 years ago.
4 years ago, probably.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
So it wasn't something that somebody saw, because in our case it was like somebody saw us doing similar shit and it was like, yo, you guys should link up. You guys were already crossing paths.
I wasn't really,
yeah, I wouldn't fuck with him.
I wouldn't fuck with him. We wasn't fucking with each other.
It was Cerritos shit, you know what I'm saying? I was over at Long Beach State, you know what I mean? So it was whatever. But linked up and things worked out. So you guys crossed each other's paths and saw that things were going. So for you, Cypress, when you started off as a DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, and
for
then
the most part.
for you, how did production kind of like? How did you add that to your repertoire like over the years?
I was just always very intrigued and interested. I have a bunch of producer homies, so I would be the DJ that was in the studio, just kind of soaking up game, watching, learning.
Like I can make harder shit into this, man.
You know, giving my giving my
turn
input.
that kick up, my nigga. Turn that kick up.
But no, it's something that I actually went to school for as well.
Dope.
So like. At school, I really learned like the fundamentals and music theory and just really how to put things together.
Now, what school did you go to?
The LA Recording School.
Nice. And what school did you go to? You went to
Long Beach City.
Yeah.
Damn.
LBCC. Shout out.
So
Shout out
when people cross your paths and think, obviously, because I know now people are hitting you up, asking you for advice, all this. Do you feel like education is the right route for people, or do you feel like everybody kind of finds their own paths? Because, obviously, it's an introduction for a lot of people to get started as far as internships and really get behind that. But either people don't finish, or it's like that's not necessarily the route for everybody. So what advice do you give to cats coming in?
For me, it would be like use school, don't let school use you. That's how I looked at it.
West Coast.
I was like at school, and it was like I had dropped out for like a period of time. Because I was just like, man, fuck school. Like, I've been here for like 4 years. Like, community college is bullshit. Like, they say 2, you're there for 4.
Right.
Like, they still say you got another 2 to go. Before you get to do 2 more, maybe.
Yeah.
So I was just like, like, I had just turned, I think, 21. And my son was born. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to school, but with a different approach. Like, I'm going to just go take classes that I want to learn shit and use it in real life. So I took the marketing class. And I took a radio class, and this was stuff I was already like interested in. Like I was already studying journalism pretty much, but I wasn't really like taking shit serious.
Yeah.
And then so I went back, and then I was like, okay, let me try this radio thing. And I sucked, like obviously really bad at first, terrible, terrible. Like I hope I never hear like stuttering. Like everything is
chewing gum. You get all that.
It was just terrible. Yeah. So like a semester went by, did that. Another semester went by, I did that, and then I interviewed Thursday.
Shout out to Thursday.
Which at the time, he was like one of my favorite rappers. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I got him in the studio for an interview, and I was just like, yo, that's fire. Like, my first interview was like my favorite rapper. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had him in there, and I was just like, yo, I could really do this. Like, all it did, I was just DMing him, and he had followed me years before because I was just a big fan.
So he saw you posting the music and just commenting.
And he just fucked with me as a person already.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, like, I have a radio show at the school, and he was like, yeah, pull up, you know? Shout out to him for that. That was big at the time, you know? And then so I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep doing this, you know what I mean? And it wasn't even Rosecrans Radio at the time. It was just like some other shit.
Right.
And some other shit. Some bullshit I came up with.
Exactly. And then so yeah, I mean, I would recommend that to like anybody. Is just like, if you do go to school, like, make sure you use it and don't let it use you and just waste your time.
Now, speaking of the name, how did you come up with Rosecrans? Obviously, I'm sure it's from the section you're from, but just kind of break that down for the people that don't know.
I mean, really, it's like a street that's like has a lot of significance to me, and also I think to LA. And at the time, I didn't feel like people were really like talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different sections of LA, and like everybody knows Crenshaw. You know what I mean? Everybody knows downtown. Everybody knows Fairfax. Then I'm like, well, this is like the section I'm from. Like, you know what I mean? Like, along the street, like all the cities, like Hawthorne, Bellflower, Downey. Like, you know what I mean? These are like places I grew up in. So it just always like represented home to me, because like we moved around a lot too. So I would just, when I seen Rosecrans, like, that was like, okay, this is home. I could just go down this street and I'll be at my grandma's, or I'll be at my pop's house.
If I get lost anywhere, I know just go to Rosecrans.
Exactly. And then at the time, Kendrick and YG were really popping.
Yeah.
So it was like they kept saying it in their music. And then I'm like, yo, I live on this street. Like, that's fire. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to do that. I want to associate my brand with that. Yeah.
Now, I think that's amazing too, because like you're right, there are other streets and other areas that people represent, but that's, I always look at it as the, you know, when Snoop was doing Long Beach back in the day, it wasn't really popular. When NWA was doing Compton at the time, that was, you know, nobody was doing it. When Nipsey was doing Crenshaw's, you know, all that, it wasn't popular at the time, but you're putting on for a section and for you're just bringing light and attention to it, and I think that's an amazing thing, bro. Like, for real.
Yeah, I was curious though, like Cypress, because I remember like when you was like DJing, like I would just see you everywhere. Is that something that you started doing on your own, or did like how the fuck? Because somebody had to tell me to do that. The reason how I started being everywhere was somebody like Salas was like, "Yo, you got access. People fuck with you. Let's just go everywhere." They did not, but you would be everywhere, and I don't know, like, you was on your own, or like how did you end up just being the guy in the streets?
Yeah, now just like kind of looking back on it, I mean, I still kind of just, you know, pick and choose and do what I want to do, who I work with, basically I just pick and choose what I do, when I do it, and, you know, who I work with. So I was pretty much using that same approach, or taking that same approach back in the day. Like, as far as the DJing goes, like, I got my start in the club. I think that's kind of what opened up my eyes to a lot of, you know, I guess the streets and, you know, how it coincides with the music.
No, would you say, you said Thurs was that time, was the moment that you say you start taking it serious, or was it before that?
I mean, it was something I wanted to pursue, but like that kind of just showed me that like, damn, shit is possible.
Gotcha.
Like, you can just really DM somebody,
and you can just connect the dots and make it happen.
And then you have them as a guest on your radio show, and it's a person of substance. You know what I mean? I'm like, I could do this again. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that hard. You know what I mean?
How did fatherhood change your outlook on shit? Like, obviously, kind of maybe you put a pause in it, but did it light that fire as well?
Oh, for sure. That's exactly what it did. Like, so I had my son at 21, and then like prior to that, like, I wasn't doing bad. I just wasn't really taking shit serious. I was just like school, work, part-time, here and there, like fuck around. And then when I had my son, I was just like, yo, I need to take this shit really serious.
I got a whole ass kid out here. You know what I mean?
So I got a job, and like full time, like at the bank, and then I was just like, I was there every day, you know, 40 hours a week, and I'm like, yo, this is miserable. Like, I'm like,
horrible, bro.
And then like I see all my coworkers and like my bosses, and like they're like 30 years older than me. and they're not making like crazy money, and I'm like, I need to wait 30 years
just to not
just
be
to
doing
make that much, just to get like a Ford Expedition, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Out here, yeah.
I'm like, how about like,
and it's the stock version too.
Exactly, like
no moon
roof. It's chrome ain't even shiny, like.
Or something.
So I'm just like, you know what? Like, I really need to like do something. And I always love music and I always love journalism. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna combine them. You know what I mean? I kind of want to do like sports journalism, like when I was a kid, but like I didn't really like just like the whole vibe. Like it's very stuffy and like you can't really speak your mind like that. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this. That's when I went back to school. And then that's when I like started to think, I'm like, okay, maybe I should do like a website or something, which I'm like the most technically like dumb person ever. Like really shit. Like I'm not great.
I hate people like you.
Yeah, I'm not like, I try, like I was trying to like customize
I get
my
on
own
the Instagrams.
Shit. Hey man.
Yeah, and so but I figured it out. You know what I mean? And I had a homie that like, shout out Charles, he did all the videos and like promos and graphics and stuff like that that helped me like build the Instagram up, and then we did the website, and then
Damn. So Cypress, for you, what was that moment that you said, okay, all right, I'm DJing or I'm producing, but this is the moment I'm actually really taking it serious. I know, like, okay, I can actually build a career off of this shit.
It was when I was originally going to college in Arizona, University of Arizona. So it was when I stopped going to Arizona. The DJing was really, it started off as a hobby. It was at that point, like when I got back, I pretty much had, really no plan B, no fallback.
It was it.
So it was really the DJing that started all of this, the DJing as a hobby.
Yeah.
So when I got back from college, I was just DJing.
Did you just leave on your own, or did you get kicked out, or how did that end?
It was a little bit of me leaving on my own, and still like it was just really expensive too. So,
gotcha. So were you studying music?
No, originally I was going for pre-physiology. So
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Pre-physiology.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was an athlete in high school, so I just kind of wanted to stay, in that field. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
When you got back and you was DJing, did you start off like doing what everybody do, just like trying to get in places, build your name up, or were you like already had the homies like booking you?
I had to go and get it. So I definitely I didn't do too much reaching out, but I just knew where I could, I guess, I could fit in a sense where I really don't try to fit in, but I just knew where to go if I wanted to get booked for a club gig, or where to go if I wanted to do this, or where to go if I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because when you start tapping in with the artist, I think that's when people started like, okay, what's up with him? Because like for the most part, like I know how that shit go. Like you DJing over here, you doing this, but it ain't like stable shit. It's just like you do something over here, then you go do something over there. But like when you started like tapping in with the artist, that's when I feel like at least the people that I know who you are and shit like that were like, yo, what's up with him? What he got going on? Like how did you end up start like attaching yourself to artists as far as DJing for different artists and shit like that?
It just kind of all happened organically. It's just all relationships, communication. And a lot of artists kind of, trust my judgment as far as, I feel like I give some pretty good constructive criticism when it comes to music, or they just kind of trust my ear, and I believe in my ear. So it's a little bit of everything.
He'll tell artists that their song is trash.
It's good.
Keep that. Good. I mean, trust me, they gonna call you an asshole. Take it from me. But definitely always, I've been telling niggas the truth for 10 years, 15 years. Telling niggas the truth.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And it get rough.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
The thing is, then they'll appreciate it. They'll be like, well, I know you're not gonna lie. They'll make a joke at me. I know you ain't gonna tell me no bullshit, and then they'll understand what you're supposed to be doing, and obviously it's for the best, because you're not just gonna tell people shit for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? So with the platform in itself, I mean, I always feel like I love when we have new outlets out here as far as LA media. I feel like
facts.
Everything. One of the chips that I always had on my shoulder for years was that there was no real representation for Los Angeles when it came to media. It was always a bias. You know what I'm saying? When 106 & Park was out there, it was always New York. Everything was New York based. Yeah. So for you, did you have that chip on your shoulder as well when it came? It was like, man, fuck, we just gonna fuck with nothing but LA shit? Or did you say, hey, look, we're gonna support our shit, but obviously, throw some other shit in there as well? Yeah,
no, it was all basically like there's like a void I see. You know what I mean? Like, and I seen that there was, the big, you know, like media platforms like Complex, Double XL, all that, they're based in New York. They even have offices in LA, and no underground LA artists are being covered. You know what I mean? Like there's like a whole, you know, phenomenon of like YG's rise that was like barely documented. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, that's bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Kendrick's too. Like a lot of it, like, I mean, I'm sure you guys covered it, like with
we did what we could.
The radio stuff, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But still, like, you know, if we had a Complex out here, you know what I mean, how different would that be? You know what I mean? He would have had like a documentary since 2007.
Just seeing a
you know
whole
what I mean?
rise,
like, so I knew, I'm like, you know what, there's a big void here that needs to be filled, you know, this LA underground. And I started to see it form, you know, with Draco and AZ Sway and like AZ Chike and Rucci. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, we need to fill that void and cover these artists and grow with them. And that's what ended up happening.
But y'all come from a place of passion, though. It's more like, because I could tell, like, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I fuck with y'all because I know it's genuine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be wanting to, like, hey, tap in, come pull up, do this. And I understand what that means now because I didn't really take the platform. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. We don't have a full perspective of how people see us from the outside looking in. At all. Yeah. Cause I'm here 6 days a week. I don't have a life. I don't have no girl. I don't have no kids. All I do is this.
I work 6 days a week. And I got a girl and I got a kid, so I'm really out of the fucking loop.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm just like this. You know what I mean? I'm just been nose in it for like 15 years now. Yeah. And so like when I see people that's on the same wave, like okay, they pushing. Like I like that. I like that energy of we gonna do this whether people fucking with it or not.
Oh yeah, that's always been the thing, and it's like, if my mentality's always been like, if you think people are sleeping on you, then just work harder.
Exactly,
like,
facts.
That's all there is to do. Right. Like, and if they still ignore you, then they still ignore you. Like, it's not gonna stop anything I'm doing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I was gonna ask you, how are those conversations now? Because obviously, as you documented shit, you know, through the years, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know, it's a homie mentality, right? But I know you see that. You guys are probably starting to see that shift where a lot of people are approaching you now that may not be ready, or when you do try to support or try to give them constructive feedback, they may not take it in the light that they should. So how do you deal with artists that say, "Oh man, Rosecrans VIC CYPRESS ain't fucking with me, or ain't supporting me," but you're like, yo, like you need to step your shit up. Like, how do you deal with that with the slew of artists that are probably reaching out to you at this point?
I mean, I would just say that, like, you know, I don't like this. I'm specific. Like, I don't like this song. You know what I mean? And it's like, that doesn't mean I don't like you. Right. That doesn't mean I won't like your next song. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Yeah. Like, people say, like, I guess because people use like language very loosely. So they're like, oh, so-and-so is trash. Right. Right. It's like, what they really mean is like, their song, like their music isn't good, what I've heard. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just like, nah, like I'm very specific. I'm like, you know what? I don't really like this song. And then they're like, oh, you know, I'm like, but send me your next song. I might like it. Yeah. Like, that's all it is. Like, it's very like 1,000 and very simple and straightforward and with no ego involved. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I would never post this. Like, that's when people start not fucking with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you're like, nah, this isn't ready for the site. Yeah. Like, it's some glorious thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if, you know, other artists don't get posted on there all day that, like, you know, other people say isn't good or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like,
so, but obviously you have the team involved now. So what's the process like? Somebody sends a song in. Do you review it, or does the team review it? What's the process like to get something posted on Rosecrans Ave right now at this point?
I mean, we get a lot of emails. Like, I don't open too many emails. To be honest, like,
trust me, I know.
Yeah. It's just
I
like,
get it. My email is on my Instagram. Trust me.
I'm asking you these questions because I'm literally talking to the fucking five years ago to myself, and it's just like, it's hilarious to see it, but it's amazing because you're going through this growth process, and it's dope because we see exactly where this is going and beyond, which is an amazing feeling. But I just love to see how you process it. Like, so your breakdown of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, to me, the joy comes in like finding the music.
Exactly.
Like, if somebody sends me something, like if an artist sends me their music, like, it's a little different than if somebody else, you know what I mean, says, yo, check this out. Right. You know what I mean? Like, the homie Holiday sent me like one of his Rucci's manager. He sent me one of his little homies' music. This guy named AMBJ, and he's like, oh, this guy's dope. He's from Nickerson's. And I'm just like, and that's all he said. And he's like, I think you might appreciate this. And then I'm like, and I just happen to just be free, and I'm just like, let me play this.
Press play.
Oh, this song's hard.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, and then so I felt like, I'm like, oh, cool. Like I found a new song. I found new artists. You know what I mean? As opposed to like maybe if like AMBJ would have slid in my DMs, like I don't know if it would have been
the same reaction.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like it's really like, you guys are dope. Like we'll find you. Like that's it. That's all I gotta say. Like,
can you say that again?
If you are dope, we will find you.
Thank you,
and we will book you,
please. now, for you, Cypress, I know a lot of people reaching out for beats. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be a part of your movement right now as well, man. So how do you kind of decipher the whole process when people reach out? I know you got the management, which is, you know, probably buffers the process a little bit. But
yeah, that's probably the most politically correct answer.
Looping in my lawyers now.
Right. CC me on this. Does it get hard though for you?
Yeah, but I've always kept my ear to the streets, so you know, people send me links, I'll click on them. I'll check them out, or I'll show them that I received it.
Right.
A lot of people have my email, so I check my email every day. So
accessible.
I'm pretty accessible, I'd say.
Good shit, man.
Well, have you ever given somebody a beat and heard the song? It's like, nah, give me that beat back.
Yeah, plenty of time. All the time.
Okay. Because I know that shit get real tricky.
Run that back.
Cease and desist.
Yeah, run that back.
Yes and no, but
how do you tell somebody that the song that they did on your shit is whack?
Just tell them.
And then you tell them you want the beat back. Like when you had to repossess a beat.
I mean,
when you had to,
it can't legally come out without my
signing off on it.
Yeah, me signing off on it. So I guess the easy way to do it would be just not sign off on it. But not like I'm pretty upfront about.
That's what I'm saying. When you had to have that conversation at some point when somebody did a whack ass song over your beat, what did you say? Like,
I mean, I don't want to air nobody out.
No, not you don't say the person.
Don't say the person, but
just say what you said
you
about like, let me get my beat back. That's just whack, or I'm not feeling it. I don't want you using my beat.
A little bit of everything. Like it's just, I approach things differently at my own pace. So.
Gotcha. You over there like Suge Knight hanging people out the fucking balcony and shit. Hey man, Cypress is one of those quiet motherfuckers that you gotta watch out for, man. You just never know what that motherfucker gonna do, bro. I love it though. I love it. Like, yeah.
Hey, I do want to talk about like you be on the road and shit. Like, and you was one of the first like young dudes I seen coming up. Just really get out there and like, fuck it, I'm finna go on the road with so and so. I'm finna go on the road with so and so. Like, is that something that you like set out to do, or is that something that just kind of happened?
Yeah, I always set like personal short-term and long-term goals. So like when I first started DJing, it was definitely like a goal of mine to tour and be able to travel off of doing something that I enjoy doing. So this time around, like the last year and a half, I was blessed with the opportunity to like go state to state, out of the country and overseas. So it's definitely something that, like I was pretty set out on doing, if that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. No, because I got to travel like that too, and I noticed like the similarities. And when I'm watching your shit, it's like, damn, I remember that. I'm old now, so I don't give a fuck. But like I noticed like just the different things as far as like the tour, like you have to figure certain things out. It's like you don't shit on the bus, or you know what I'm saying, like, or you got to figure out like what to eat, like shit closed in the middle of the night. Like
it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so
being on the road is tough.
It's tough, right?
Yeah, it's work.
Logistically,
it's work.
Like, you got to figure all that out.
That's what I want to get to. Most people think that the tour is like when people picture tour, they picture Michael Jackson. They picture bitches hanging out of the. you know what I'm saying? They don't see like the grind, like somebody like you have sleep. You know what I mean? That type of shit. So, like, is there anything that you did learn while touring that kind of made you a little stronger?
Most definitely.
What's something that you picked up?
Just, professionalism, treating everybody right when you walk into the building, meeting all, the sound guy and the security guard, and, making eye contact. Like, it's way more to that. Of course, we growing, we having fun, we learning from our mistakes. It's tour's just a whole other experience. That's like a separate podcast in itself.
I know one thing you learned, and you taught me the other day. Don't put the room in your name.
They gonna fact that shit up.
That is a fact.
All on you.
Especially when you go out with rappers. Yeah. You on the tour with LMA, you can put what, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and put that shit in my name. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah. Room 132.
Don't put your credit card.
Yeah.
Right.
Cypress is like, all I brought was my passport.
Not doing that.
I don't know.
For real.
I don't got a debit card.
I don't got nothing.
He's like, I'm a thug it out.
Motherfuckers ashing blunts on the curtains.
I'm like, oh, I got. He's like, no, you don't.
No,
He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, all right, yeah, for sure.
You
Like,
know what I'm saying? I guess I fucking
the
idiot.
things I'm learning now,
Right,
like
right.
just from yesterday, and like we're going to Texas next week, so it's like I'm learning. I'm
South by
picking up
Southwest,
things. Yeah.
Hey, you know what I love to see about this progression, this grind, and I've caught it on the Instagram or the Twitter sometimes too, especially with you, Vic, is hitting these industry parties for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Open bars and stuff like that. I love those experiences that you're having now. Like, what's your take on that? When you is it still like a new thing for you? Like, damn, I got invited to this, or damn, this is open bar. Like, kind of walk me through that process. For you.
I'm embracing it because I know it's the beginning. Yeah, and I know eventually I'm gonna be sick of this shit and I'm not gonna go anymore.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, and I know that, but I'm in the process where I'm just like getting used to like this, like being catered to. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, like, you know, open bar. There was a Four Loko fridge. Right. You know what I mean? There's free
You didn't
food.
drink that shit, did you?
Yes.
Hell yeah,
of course
we did.
Yes. If you have an opportunity to drink Four Locals, just drink it.
Hey,
that was
and they had
Rosarito
every
Vic right
single
there.
flavor too.
Get the fuck out.
I never
like I
seen.
went
I
in,
never
huh?
seen.
They had the purple one, the gold one.
Wow.
But I was just amazed. I ain't never seen anything like it. Like a whole fridge full of just
Four Loko tastes
colored
different when you're
cans.
already drunk. Like it's fine. Like when you're sober, like you do not want to drink that.
Yeah, after you done.
You can tell the whole crowd was off Four Loko.
Yeah,
For
Some
real?
of the
Four
videos
Loko
I seen,
vibes.
yeah.
Four Loko vibes for sure.
Fights, riots, everything.
Yeah.
Damn.
There were
Yeah, it was
there was
going
a
down
bunch of
last night.
fights.
It was
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah.
Bro, so what's dope is that y'all getting to have these experiences, right?
Yeah.
How are the homies? Like, how are y'all dealing with the homies? Because I know, like, once you start, like, climbing, like, you start noticing, like, you don't change.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always the homies that change. It's
Yeah.
never you. And it's hard trying to explain it to somebody who not in the middle of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it'd be like, hey, like, you got to separate that shit. Like, yo,
Yeah.
hey, yo, Vic, we coming to the show. I got 6 people. Yo, Cypress, you know, my little homie just start rapping. Like, I need 4 beats. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the homie shit?
I mean, it's always like, you know, I mean, I personally don't roll with like too many people.
You could have fooled the fuck out of me. Right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I came with 2 people. I think they're still outside.
Oh, man, shit. He's like, I came with 2. Cypress came with the entire goddamn.
Cypress brought the caravan.
Right.
So.
My car only had 4 people. My car.
But it's like you said, I mean, I guess we're not there just yet, but like I think people know that like I'm the type of person to like, you know, I might be the first one to like experience this stuff, but like I'm coming back for y'all.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, and they know that because I've done it like plenty of times where I've, you know, lobbed opportunities that I don't get nothing out of. I don't get no money. I don't get nothing. Like, and it's just like, you know, people know that like, you know, I enjoy giving back and, you know, passing opportunities to this person, to that person. So I think at least my team is just like, I don't really have homies like that. Like I just have like people that I work with and like my team.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I agree with
high school friends. Like I don't know. I don't talk to them. Like love to them, but like you know what I mean? Like we're just different. We're
I
in
don't
different
talk
places.
to anybody I grew up with.
Yeah. So that's what I mean.
Separate yourself.
So it's really just a team. So it's like, you know, when I can, like I'll bring another person along, and then you know next time it's like maybe one more. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, like we took our photographer Christy with us. You know what I mean? And she's like, yeah, I'll snap pictures and stuff, and like, and then like I was talking to like Callie, and then I was just like, yeah, like you could probably come with us next time we go. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just that, and they know like I'm gonna, you know, I might go over here, but I'm gonna come back for y'all.
Gotcha.
Like for sure. Yeah.
How you go ahead? I was gonna say how you deal with it.
With homies in general?
The homie shit. Yeah. Anybody asking you for favors? Hey, DJ, this for me. I got $50 for you. Or hey, let me get 4 beats for my little brother. Just start rapping.
Yeah. One thing I learned recently, just from being in a nice little meeting, was like the power of no. And this person was just explaining, you know, how powerful that can be. So early on in my career, I wouldn't really say no. And, you know, I'd say yes, you know, I'd do them favors. But now, like, yeah, things are changing a little to where I really value my time, and I put my time first. you know, I got a lot of stuff that I need to get done. So
yeah. You got any kids? You got any kids, Cypress?
I don't know.
All right. Just making sure.
As you should, bro.
I don't know. See, like that tour life for Cypress. I don't know. It seems like you be probably running.
Oh, a little Cypress running around
little
somewhere?
Cypress running up
Nah,
out there
definitely
somewhere.
not.
Just making sure.
You not a rock star out here?
Strap up, Cypress.
He's like, that.
Cypress.
He's like, oh, definitely. Hell no.
Gang. Now, you mentioned earlier about putting on for Latinos in hip hop, man, and I think in LA for sure we know 80%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like it doesn't necessarily translate to the music though? You know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't there more representation when it comes to the artists, and it's not really fully supported in hip hop the way I feel like it should be, especially out here in LA?
I think because things really grow from like the inside out. You know what I mean? So I think having people like behind the scenes, like me and Cypress and Chris, like, you know, who are Latino, who are, you know, making our way in the industry, like, you know, we find a dope artist. I mean, it doesn't matter what they are. Like, we don't view shit like that. But, I mean, if they are Latino and they're dope, like, you know, we're going to be able to prop them up, and we're probably going to be able to market them, you know, maybe a little better than like anybody else would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think maybe that's why. You know what I mean? Like, you know, obviously, like, when, you know, hip-hop became a big thing, it's like, because they were like really strong executives, you know what I mean? Like Suge, like Birdman, you know what I mean? Like, say what you want about them personally, but like, you know, they were really good CEOs and like,
professionally,
you know what I mean?
Unmatched.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's where you get the Tupac, you know, Puffy, that's where you get Biggie. So it's like, I think to grow from the like from the inside out, and I think that's when we'll start to see more. You know what I mean? Which we have like our eyes on a few, like obviously like OGZ's like, you know, huge. But there's like a few other like dope, you know, Latino artists. Rucci's one of them. You know what I mean? Like he's half. And so, you know, I think it's that, and it's just really like a natural synergy. Like, it's not even like, all right, let's put Latinos on Cypress. Like, you know, it's nothing like that. It's just like, we're just in these positions, and if a dope artist comes along and is Latino, like, you know, we're gonna help push him. Like FIFA, you know, he's a really dope artist. Yeah. And so I think you're gonna see that. You know what I mean?
So you said we need the Latino Suge Knight out here. That's what we need. We need the Latino Suge Knight to start pushing lines.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Hey, so even for you, like, I mean, I'm glad you said that, but even for you, Cypress, do you feel like Latinos get the respect they deserve in hip hop?
Respect is earned, not given. So I can only really speak on, I guess, my standing amongst, I guess, the industry that I'm in. So I could say, like, yeah, some people do get, you know, the respect that they deserve.
The people that deserve to get it.
Yeah, the people that deserve to get it. Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna respect it. Like, they're gonna have to.
Right,
like,
exactly.
That's it. Like, they're gonna have to.
No, the only reason why I asked is because we get not we specifically, but there's pushback you get from a lot of Latino artists that feel like, man, you guys aren't doing enough. Like, there's not enough out there, and there's plenty of artists, but they feel like the support isn't high end enough. Yeah, and it's like, okay, like, we're allies. We do as much as we possibly can, but I just wanted to get your perspective on it. Like, is that something that you're seeking out to do for the community, or is it just like, hey, look, you dope. We'll represent as much as we possibly can?
It's really, it's really just that. It's you dope. Like, we're not gonna like do no like nepotism shit. Really, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because we work with all types of artists. You know what I mean? Like, we find a dope, like, you know, Asian artist. Like, we're gonna prop him up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Stupid Young. Like, he's fire. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what he is, really. Like, to us, we're just like, yo, the song is hard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
got you.
Yeah.
Now, do you get people from other areas that send you music as well? And as far as how do you support that? Like, somebody from New York or Detroit or something like that sends.
Oh yeah,
Rosecrans
like we have. Since I started Rosecrans, like, we're primarily like I always say, like, we're LA based, we're LA focused, but we're gonna like post anything and support anything that's dope. Like, primary example, Shorty from Baltimore, right? I heard his song, like, the homie from New York sent it to me. I'm just like, he sounds like that song Bituary sounds like he's from LA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the beat, the everything, the cadence, like, and then so I'm like, yo, this is hard as fuck. And so I sent it to Cypress. I'm like, yo, Cypress, like, what you think? He's like, yo, this is fire. You know, and then it trickles down, you know, then I post it on Instagram, Twitter, you know what I mean? He sends it to, you know, like the homies at like labels, and then, you know, people following me, people following him. He brings them out for, you know, Shoreline show in, where was it? Maryland?
Maryland, yeah.
Damn.
And then and this all happened like very organically and like in a few days. And then he started to catch like a real buzz in LA, you know, and then like, you know, most of the LA, like new LA rappers follow me. So then they see I posted it, then like Rucci's fucking with them. Then Chike is fucking with them. Now he's on tour with, you know, Rucci, Chike, One Take J, and this all happened within the last 2 months.
That's effect, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like we
influence,
embraced him like he was an LA artist just because we fucked with the music.
Right.
And we knew, I could tell like he's a fan of LA music as well. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, you know what? You support us, we support you. Like that's it. Yeah.
Are there plans to? Okay, let me just ask you this first of all. Well, let's get into this first. Don't come to LA, right?
Yeah.
Rosecrans Ave Live, amazing showcases that you guys have been doing. And I look forward to seeing the future ones that are coming about. You guys are hitting South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Talk about the live experiences, because it's one thing to support the artists, it's one thing to post the music, but then to see them on stage doing their thing, like. What satisfaction do you get from that? And both of you, as far as seeing people on the road and working with them when you're doing beats and doing production, and then seeing them perform that shit. Just what satisfaction and joy do you get from that part?
I mean, it's super dope to watch the progression. Like, you know, yesterday was like a prime example. Like, we booked Shoreline for like one of their first shows ever. Cypress, you know, was their DJ. We interviewed them like 2 days before the event that we booked them at. And then, you know, we had this tiny room in Los Globos. They packed it the fuck out. Everybody's yelling Musty.
Yeah.
And me and Cypress looking at each other like, what is this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and so, you know, we like the music and everything, but when we seen it in real life, like, we're just like, okay, like, this is going to go. Same thing with Rucci. He was on that same lineup. This was September 2017. Crazy. We see Rucci. He's like the second performer probably. Fire performance, smiling, stage presence. The crowd is yelling his lyrics back to him. And I'm like, oh, he's going to be a star too. You know what I mean? And so to see that, and then to see Shoreline, you know, packing out Papas and Beer Fest in Rosarito, you know, and then obviously Cypress like going, you know, worldwide with them. Yeah. And then, you know, to see it happen now a few times, like now One Take J and Chike are on the road. And like we see these like cycles like repeat. You know, we booked Chike and Jay on the same lineup last January. Crazy. Very early on the like they probably performed at like 10 p.m. Crazy. You know what I mean? And now they're headlining their own tours. Word. And so it's very satisfying, like to watch the growth, to watch, you know, people who, you know, we might have booked them for like $150 a year ago. And now they're getting like thousands and thousands. Right. You know what I mean? They're able to take care of their family. Like that's what I always think about too. Like more of like, yo, like everybody's lives are changing. Not only the artists, but like their families.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I asked you that to say, who's next? Who do you feel is next? And I know it's one of those questions like, because all eyes on you at this point. You know, people are looking at, but you are that next guy. The people are looking at you. They're listening to what you guys are saying. So right now, you know, like you said, you booked these shows early 2017, and you know these are diamond in the roughs then, and you now look at them. So as of right now, who would you say is in that position that you see is that diamond in the rough that people need to know about?
Cypress Moreno, as an artist, because he's, you know, not a rapper, but he's coming out as a producer,
Love that.
artist, you know, with his own project soon. So honestly, like, all my money's on that.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. Me too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me too. I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
So, and Cypress, how do you feel about that? I mean, obviously, from transitioning from DJ producer, now the spotlight is on you, and like honestly, like the conversations are like, yo, this is the next Mustard and beyond. Like, so how do you feel when these conversations are being said about you? Do you feel like, is that pressure for you, or you can step up to the plate? Like, what's your mindset when you hear all this news?
Yeah, it's not pressure. I think I've been putting in a lot of work behind the scenes, so it's just really everything is just all timing. So like, when the time, you know, comes, people will see and hear a lot of the stuff I've been working on.
Hey,
it's definitely a transition though.
Yeah.
You said what? It's a transition.
It's a transition. Yeah, like it's transitioning from like I'm known as a DJ. I really don't, you know, people know me as a producer as well, but I still feel like there's a lot of respect I need to earn as a producer.
Gotcha.
So like I'm definitely transitioning.
That light is on you, bro. That light is on you, man.
What like I guess what I want to know from your perspective is, how does it what's your thought process when you go and you start working with an artist? Like, because some people email beats, you know what I'm saying? And like, we were talking to Ninth Wonder, and he was like, the producer's supposed to get in the studio, and it's supposed to be a vibe. And what's your preferred method? Do you just shoot?
That's my preferred method.
Okay, so get in the studio.
Cook with the artist?
With the artist, yeah.
Got you. No email. Have you ever? Well, I'm sure you've emailed beats before.
Yeah, I have.
Do you at this point? Do you stop that, or are you like it's only for certain artists and certain people?
Certain artists, certain people.
Got you. All right, man.
Sir,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so like when you, let's say, what's your ideal situation for Cypress Moreno right now?
Ideal situation.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much already kind of in my ideal situation, minus the big label.
Gotcha.
So, have my own label, CEO of my own label.
Catch 22.
And just pretty much, getting the whole rollout ready for what's to come.
So you heading in the label direction,
executive direction.
Because I remember like when I remember you asked me like I hit you up for a mix, and he was like, what the fuck is this shit for? Like, and it was literally because I was trying to plug you with some shit, but then when we talked and you told me that's why I was having you pull up, and you was like, you told me what you were trying to do. I'm like, oh, you doing that? Okay, bet.
Yeah.
So let me fall back on this right here, because I was about to like, bro, this is the guy. Like, I'm about to like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, this right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I respect it.
So one question we always ask is that the year can't end without Rosecrans Ave, Rosecrans Vic doing what? And then same thing for you, Cypress. The year can't end without you doing what?
Touring Latin America. I really want to go, and I think we have some records for it.
We left Mexico a couple hours ago.
I don't like. I've been to Mexico. Like,
right.
I'm trying to go to every Latin American country. I don't know. Like, just really like experience the tour stuff. I think like we have the records like with Cypress and FIFA like to do that, and I really just want to see that being like executed. Gotcha. And also I mean, we're working on a few things for like Don't Come to LA, to like our like real plan for like Don't Come to LA is like for it to be a festival, outdoors, you know what I mean, like food, drinks, the whole thing, you know what I mean. So to execute that as well. Dope. Those are like the two things, pretty much, that I want to accomplish before the year's up.
Got you. What about you, Cypress?
Yeah, 2019, just release a lot of music through my label. I want people to, be able to sit with it and really hear my music and hear the stuff that I've been working on behind the scenes.
You said Catch 22?
Catch 22 is the label, yeah.
Okay.
And you got FIFA in here. We got a shout out.
Yeah, shout out
FIFA.
Bring him in.
Yeah, come on over here, man.
Come here real quick.
FIFA.
Don't be shy.
FIFA FIFA sent some music in the inbox music some time back, man, and I fuck with your movement. I fuck with you doing, man, and I fuck with the persistence that you have. So definitely keep that up. So I mean, for the folks that aren't familiar, shout out your information, how they can get in contact with you. Working on right now.
I'm just working on. We got a Nike freestyle soccer event later on today that I'm gonna go perform at.
Dope.
So I'm just bringing in the whole Latin culture, the real Latin LA culture. Mix it in with like the whole, it's just LA as fuck,
Yeah.
Like look at the room, it's very versatile, you know.
Sure.
So it's just that's kind of what our music. That's kind of what I want to bring with our music. It's just like bring that unity. So it's like soccer is one of those. Like it's a worldwide sport. So that's kind of what our music is gonna represent.
Football.
You feel me?
Football.
This is really football. Right. Yeah, we call it football.
Yeah.
Or you know what?
FIFA 2019.
We call it soccer. So,
No, real shit.
That's just the whole thing. And just in this game, it's about identity. So I feel like that's just me. You feel me? I grew up skateboarding, playing soccer in South Central. You feel me? I grew up around the gang members and all that shit, but like I still have a dream to face. You feel me? We got goals and shit.
Now, real quick, let me ask you this: what do you think is missing as far as representation in the music industry from a Latin perspective?
From LA?
Yeah.
From LA itself, we just need good talent. We just need a sound, just like how LA has its own sound. Like we just need like I said, it's about identity. We can't be making reggaeton in LA. Like it'll fly, but it won't go too far. You can't represent LA like that. That's not our sound. I grew up off of fucking merengue, salsa, and bachata music at home, so I can't go make reggaeton music. That ain't me.
That ain't
right.
you.
You know?
Right.
I'm raised off Dr. Dre and fucking and Celia Cruz and shit.
Right.
So, you get me? So it's like, how do we bring that shit in a way where it's just like, look, this is who we are. This is how we represent LA. So it's like, we've talked about this and we feel like, yo, let's take lead. Like, let's take leadership.
Absolutely.
We could break a door that's never been opened before. So it's like, maybe after me, maybe we'll see 20 more. You feel me?
Now, and the reason why we ask that is because that representation needs to be voiced more. I feel like nobody, when you said that, the first thing you said is the real LA. A lot of people don't know that. They assume that, oh, yeah. Latins love reggaeton. Yeah, it's like, no, not
that's
not
not
always
how
fly. Like, that's not
that
it,
shit,
bro.
that shit what came into LA when we were like 15.
Right.
Like Daddy Yankees and Theo Calderon.
That's Puerto Rico.
And like, we only
that's
liked
Dominican
it for
Republic,
because it was cool, but we really can't relate to it. Like, we can't be like, yo, that's blood shit. You know, like that's in our blood when it's really not. Like, we could dance to it, we could go to party to it, but it's not what we create. We want to create some organic sounds. You feel me?
No, I feel that. I like what you just said right now because I feel like the same way. I was raised by Mexicans, like pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Lady used to babysit me and shit, and she was teaching me Spanish, and all they had was corridos and banda. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Yeah,
you know, that's without. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was some bachata and shit, but that was pretty much it. It wasn't no fucking like. It wasn't none of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And so like what you just said is like some real shit.
Yeah, so it's, it's just painting a fucking story, a picture, like, with our music. That's all we're doing out here. But as far as representation, I just feel like I just spoke to one of my boys. Like, Latinos went through a lot of shit as artists out here. I spoke to one of my boys who went on tour with Nicky Jam. This was like when I was in high school. And what happened with him was the guy that he was making music with got deported, bro.
Oh, damn.
He got deported. So the next morning he woke up, he was just like, yo, where's my boy at? He was like, bro, they took him.
Damn.
He hasn't seen him till this day, bro. It's been 15 fucking years. 15 years, he hasn't seen him till this day.
Wow.
So this is the type of stuff that we went through as Latin artists, or even being looked at like, oh, he's trying to be black. Oh, he's trying to do this,
Yeah.
So I think it's perfect right now. I think it's at a point where it's just like, racism, like it's all over our heads already. LA's like very versatile, so like we're used to this shit. You feel me? So it's about time that we represent LA how it's supposed to be.
Have either one of y'all been affected by the DACA shit at all?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Bro.
One of my homies, his dad, like it was fucking crazy. Like they just like, yep, you're out of here. It's like
some of the friends my mom's came to the US with, like they would take them, and it's just, she didn't get her card till later. Like, I'm in the 6th grade, staying up with her at 12 o'clock, reading the questions so she could get her card, you feel me?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro, like this shit, it's a struggle, but I feel like that's what made us, you feel me? Same way y'all face your challenges, we faced ours, and then we meet on the table, put all that shit, we make this shit work.
Exactly.
I fuck with that,
It's
bro.
a story to tell.
Hell
It's a story
yeah.
people need to hear for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, just representation. We got the 6ix9ines, we got the Cap G's in them, like that's cool, but that you could see that they hit a certain wall because it's like y'all said, it wasn't presented the right way. You feel me? So yeah, there's a wall on that right now, but that's what we're here for. We're trying to figure this shit out.
Tear down the wall. Yeah.
Sure. Tear down the wall.
I like what you. I like how you did that.
One thing.
We gotta tear that fucking wall down.
One thing we want to do as we close this thing out, man. We asked on the last episode when we were talking to Villain Park, right?
Yeah.
From a media standpoint, from the big homie standpoint, from however you view us here at Homegrown, or just what me and myself and Head do, what are some things that we can do to help out, or are there things that we can do to be that?
Start with Cypress.
Yeah.
You guys helping out?
Yeah.
What can we do to help what y'all do?
And if it's not personally, just from
Anything,
just a generic standpoint, like
the people in our class, what can we do to help?
For the most part,
the old motherfuckers.
Yeah.
What can we do to help y'all do what y'all trying to do?
Probably just bridge the old and the young up and comers. Just find some type of bridge to where we use the term like old heads and youngsters.
Yeah, I get it.
I really don't kind of believe in those terms, because if you in the game, it don't matter how old or how young you are. Like,
yeah,
I kind of came up being one of the young cats in the room, just fly on the wall. But I was pretty much always looked up to as a same, on the same floor,
yeah,
as a peer. So maybe just bridging that gap a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
So basically, don't call you little homie then. No, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking
Nah,
with you. Nah,
not
got you.
that.
Yeah. What about you, Vic?
I mean, I think you guys are doing like a great job of it right now. You know what I mean? Like we're sitting here, like that's important. Like, you know, to get that support of like bridging that gap. Like if there's certain people that maybe in their head are like, well, I only fuck with homegrown. Like I can't fuck with Rosecrans. Like when we meet up and we have, you know, this discussion, or when you guys come to our events, like that can kill any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That there would be any potential rivalry or anything, because like there's no rivalry because we're all getting to the bag in, you know, in different ways. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in like stepping on toes. Like I don't even think that's a real thing. Like you know what I mean? Like that's a mentality that you think somebody could box you out. Like if you work hard enough, nobody can box you out at all. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like
it's so funny. We had that conversation a few episodes back. And it was the idea of being blackballed. And
it was bullshit.
Like, like you can't be blackballed.
I don't believe in being blackballed.
You try to blackball me, I'm gonna work 100 times harder
just to prove it.
Be ready. Like
one of the reasons I do think people started even fucking with me in general is because I wouldn't go away. I feel the same way about him, about Cypress. Like it's just like, you gonna see me anyway. Any fucking way. You might as well take some of these beats. Right. You know what I'm saying? You might as well take me on the road. I'm gonna be here. Fuck with me.
That's the mentality really of like, I'm here forever. So y'all wanna like wake up now or later, it's up to y'all. Like it doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? Like,
well, man, we appreciate you guys coming on through, man.
Thanks for having us.
Moreno, Rosecrans Vic. Looking forward to everything that happens in both of the worlds and blowing up within 2019, 2020, and beyond, man. But you guys have allies over here, man. We got number love for y'all, and just keep on striving, keep on doing your thing, keep on putting on for LA for sure. All right, it's Homegrown Radio. Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head, Rosecrans Ave, Cypress Moreno, Rosecrans Vic, and we out this bitch.
We out.
Yeah.